Hello wonderful people and welcome back. This video is titled Woman Wouldn't Let This Man Board, Regrets Later After Hearing the Clapback. Can you guess where this one is heading? If you've ever visited an airport or traveled at least once in your life, you're well aware of how stressful it can be. Flight delays, long lines, misplaced luggage, and being picked out for an airport security inspection may all make a person's blood boil. None of them, on the other hand, would bother Emmett, because he was about to have his day ruined by an entitled lady. Emmett was about to board a plane to the Dominican Republic. He had even arranged to fly out the day before his birthday, giving him plenty of time to enjoy and relax once he arrived. As he waited in line to board his aircraft, though, someone was keeping an eye on him. She was adamant about putting a stop to him. He stood there watching the line creep ahead until he heard a high-pitched voice behind him. "Excuse me," a woman's voice said. "Excuse me." He felt her hand on his shoulder after that. Emmett went to see what this woman may want, not thinking he'd just entered the most terrifying confrontation of his life. The woman gave Emmett a once-over, carefully and purposefully checking him over and taking everything in. He wasn't supposed to be here, she could tell. Her chin was pointing at the sign above her. As she spat out the perplexing words, her mouth was practically a sneer. Emmett, on the other hand, was perplexed. The lady hissed, "I believe you may be in the wrong place." She ordered Emmett to get out of line before he could correct her and explain that he was flying first class. Then she tried to push her way in front of him by saying angrily, "Let us through." Before we continue, if you like this video, please like, comment, or subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it. Now back to the video. Emmett attempted to maintain his composure and defuse the situation. Was there a problem with the woman? He was perplexed when he stared at the woman. "Yes, he was supposed to be in this line," he stated quietly. "I believe you may be in the wrong place, you need to let us through." "This line is for priority booking," she argued. She didn't even bother to disguise her condescending tone. Emmett attempted to persuade her. "Priority meaning first class, correct?" The woman, on the other hand, was adamant about not letting it go. But he'd figure out what she was actually trying to communicate in no time. "Yes," the woman said angrily, "now excuse me. They will call y'all after we board." Emmett was perplexed at this point. Why did this woman seem so certain that he was in the wrong line? Why had she singled him out in the first place? He was starting to grow irritated. He took his ticket from his wallet and showed the woman that he was precisely where he was supposed to be. Emmett didn't owe this woman anything, but he figured it would put a stop to the squabble. He was completely wrong. The woman's face was flushed with embarrassment. Her expression sunk into an unpleasant grimace, and she spoke loudly to her pals, loud enough for Emmett to hear. She murmured passive-aggressively, "He must be military or something. But we paid for our seats, so he still should have to wait." Emmett couldn't believe what he was hearing. He attempted to think of explanations for her behavior in the airport since he didn't want to make a scene. She had plainly believed he couldn't afford to fly first class. Was she truly implying what he assumed she was implying? Emmett had a pretty decent notion of what the woman was attempting to communicate by this point. But he refused to think she was passing judgment on him because of his skin color. Here was a lady who felt he was a second-class citizen in this day and age. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. He didn't want to jump to any conclusions, though. He began to question himself. Maybe the woman didn't mean to come off in that manner. But the more he thought about her sarcastic remark, the more perplexed he felt. He politely clarified that he had been first in line and that he would not be moving. She'd simply have to wait like the rest of us. Is it possible that he was underdressed for the trip? He didn't believe it. And, based on the nasty woman's attire, she didn't appear to be very well dressed. He didn't want to come to the conclusion he did, but he couldn't get away from it any longer. And it was his reaction that elicited a standing ovation from the whole audience. "Nope, too huge to be in anybody's military," Emmett responded, turning back to the bold woman. In truth, Emmett had ordered a first-class ticket in the first place because of his imposing height. A first-class seat would provide him with the extra legroom he needed for a comfortable flight. Emmett realized even before the response had left his mouth that it wouldn't be enough to put the woman in her place, his mind running a mile a minute. Who was she to question his authority to be there? Emmett returned his attention to the entitled woman, and the audience erupted in applause as he spoke the next thing to her. He was going to be the one to knock the woman down a notch. Emmett needed to stand up for himself, despite his non-confrontational personality. He made a comment at her, and she appeared to be hit in the face by his remarks. Her mouth expanded in surprise as she recoiled in terror. Emmett had informed the bold and judgy woman that he was not in the military. He was merely a wealthy African-American dude. The audience erupted in applause and shouts, pleased by Emmett's humorous answer and delighted at the woman's public humiliation. But the narrative didn't end there. Everyone who saw Emmett's actions praised him. In their eyes, he had made a strong stand against racism. It was evident that the woman deserved it. He posted the tale on Facebook, but only his buddies were supposed to read it. He had no idea that the scenario was going to be flipped upside down. The post had gone viral by the time Emmett arrived at his destination. Emmett's message was shared over 250,000 times in only 2 days. It has already been shared over 300,000 times. Hundreds of responses praised Emmett's reaction to the woman's unacceptable behavior. One admirer said, "Never judge a book by its cover." Racism should be never tolerated in any case. Although Emmett expressed his regret in sharing the incident online, he later posted, "The story was definitely real, just like this issue is definitely real, but I now know that I myself should have handled it another way, or left it how it was, and not shared it publicly." That's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. As always, if you like this video, please like, comment, or subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video.